it's able to do that and how much control it can give to a team when used properly.
Exactly, there's a lot of people just out of pure habit that's just going to feel like tower equals safe. Not necessarily the case there. So we talked a lot about some adaptations in the draft phase from the side of V5, what we like to see for them. Giving over so many priority picks and this kind of meta to Rare Atom was definitely not what we liked.
No.
So this time around, Rare Atom themselves have actually chosen blue side, and beforehand we saw they had a lot of priority onto the Lee Sin, so I think that's just what they're going to be looking for again.
Completely agree, because we already see the two same bans from the side of V5 taking Viego, Rumble off the table. We expected that. Fofo's Viego has been amazing. Same with Bland's Rumble. Renekton being the final ban just to make sure they can take away another powerful thing that Rare Atom have, which is the Nidalee Renekton combination.
Ooh, but another laner did go untouched here, and that could be the set over here. Giving up the set is going to give the Lee Sin, but quite favorable matchup for Lee Sin actually. Set does, for the set into the Lee Sin, does fairly well into it. Good burst damage comes out from the E from Lee Sin, but set kind of able to just dish that damage back. And here is the Ezreal that we talked about in the last draft phase, finally picked up here for Kepler.
I actually really like this draft, or just immensely better from what we saw in V5 last time around.
Yes.
Grabbing some powerful picks. You talked about grabbing the Ezreal, that was left open, neither team touching that because Varus was an easy pick for Rare Atom. Well, here, I think Ezreal is great. The Varus already taken away. They give themselves a Lee Sin. On the other side, sure, they have to trade set for it, but I think this is a worthwhile endeavor for Victory 5.
It's definitely giving themselves some more tools here, but still at the same time, it has created a very dangerous top side of the map. But with the Ezreal, you're kind of saying, all right, we can play bot weak side, we can play towards up the top side of the map. But when you also blind Ezreal, you give free scaling to the AD carries with the likes of Kai'Sa and Vayne. And this time around, it's going to be iBoy's Kai'Sa that we already talked about earlier in our pregame. But there we go. That's a priority pick. R3 Akali. You can ban out the Silas, you can ban out the Twisted Fate, and then you can kind of get yourself a more favorable laning phase. I like this from V5.
Very nice pickup coming in, and still allows them to have this flexibility. Akali could go topside, Akali could go mid lane, same with the Lee Sin, can be vice versa. We're not exactly certain just yet. I love when teams retain this flexibility in their draft to make it so that Rare Atom are kind of guessing where everything is going to go. They're going to look at tendencies from what they've seen in previous games and previous scrims, but that's not always a perfect indication of what a team might actually go for in this draft.
That's completely true, and going into this ban phase from the side of V5, you can see they're banning out mid laners, and so is Rare Atom actually getting rid of the Ryze as well. A champion with so much priority. I've seen Ryze be played, but I'm still kind of puzzled as to why it has the priority it does. And now Silas is still up and available if you'd like to pick that. Yeah, it does give you a lot of AP damage profiles to the side of Rare Atom, but still at the same time, there's still good ultimates for you to use. The perfect execution, the kick quick disengage, and obviously true shot barrage, already AP scalings on towards that ultimate. Last ban to come out, I would expect it to be, yep, actually there we go, the jungler's Udyr, a fast clearing jungler, does mix in with the same damage profile in touch that you already have an AP mid laner, kind of need that AD engage towards the jungle as well, and then you get the Leona. I actually like this draft already way more than the previous one from V5.
I do, but the one thing that I see that's missing, you had talked about it, Silas, a great pick into Akali, has been left open, and that's what I was wondering. They banned Zoe, they banned Jace, taking away those powerful picks, that the Jace even having that flexibility, a good amount of AD damage that is kind of needed for Rare Atom, but you know, Set's going to be able to provide enough damage. They have Kai'Sa too. The Silas is perfect to be able to try to match against Akali.
It really is, and there's so many good ultimates for you to steal. And once again, I'm very puzzled by the Zoe ban. I understand the Jace ban, because into Akali, Jace just gets infinite priority in the early game, and you can just move around the map wherever you want to, playing for the Nidalee. But this time around, not leaving, or actually leaving the Silas open can come back and really bite them in the butt. But this time around, remember, the Lee Sin is actually a flex pick. This could be picked up by PZX, and you could get a counter matchup, or at least a bit here in the mid lane. It's actually going to be the Akali for Invincible, and then Uniboy to pick up the Orianna here instead.
Well, there is still flexibility on Rare Atom's side as well. It is not guaranteed that it's going to be set top lane, Sylas mid lane. There is always the potential that they flex those around. We haven't seen Sylas top lane in a while, but it is still something that could be experimented with Rare Atom if they want to be able to secure the fact that Invincible's going to be behind.
Yeah, here's the thing. Remember, you can swap champions until 20 seconds is left of champion select. Oh, we won't get to see that.
I think that it's indicating that we're not having the flex. The only other thing outside of that would be to move the players themselves, which is also a possibility. I mean, if anyone remembers the LCK shenaniganeries that we saw coming in from Damwon, where a lot of things got moved around, that is always a potential. Players and where they go, their lane assignments, it's not always guaranteed depending on how their champions are able to do and what they want to be able to accomplish when it comes to their lane opponents.
And it's not only just going to be about the lanings here. I want to take it back to the jungle matchup once again. Leian on his Nidalee versus PZX Lee Sin here. Lee Sin, one of the champions that, yes, he fell more into the meta again once the camp timers was reduced with the jungle changes. But his clear speed is still very slow to the likes of Nidalee. So, once again, from the side of V5, they need to be able to find something to work with the Lee Sin in the early game, or else with any priority giving for the Nidalee, she's going to be able to just completely outclear you with her base clear, how fast she is, how well she actually does in going into counter jungle and get out with her pounces with the Kuka form, of course.
And this makes me worry for PZX. We saw last time the aggressive flash over the wall to try to get that first blood kill, the first aggressive play right out of the gates of V5 here in Game 2. If you're falling behind your opponent, I'm wondering what V5 are going to fall back to as their plan.
Yeah, and you can kind of, if you remember, in a first game actually now, at Magical, Rare Atom spotted out early wards came through. This time around, pick up the Sweeper, go get rid of that ward immediately, forcing them to place yet another ward.
Man.
But this does mean there's a little XP clearance.
Look at the ward that was placed down by Leian onto PZX's red buff to spot him out, recalled immediately from there to then go for his own red buff and make sure they're going to have complete control over the jungle pacing.
Yeah, it's just good. It's just a good pickup in the beginning here. Wards down has picked up the sweeper himself for Leian. Very, what do you say, standard for the jungle now as well, to get the most out of yourself, that you don't have to worry about wards. And in towards the top lane, we already know Akali does fairly well into these melee matchups, just because of the fact that, yeah, slow him down with the 5-punch strike, get the extra range towards your auto attacks, and then you can kind of just win the trade, at least for level 1, into any melee matchup. But we talk about clear speed of both junglers right now. Lee Sin will be forced to skip out on these crocs just because Nidalee clears way faster. So if you want to match the pace of Leian right now, you have to skip some of these camps, unfortunately.
And you've already seen that pacing. Leian was able to complete her red buff well before PZX was able to finish his. Now only getting the Raptor, so we'll kind of be on the same pacing, well, opposite side of the jungle from one another, but still going to be just slightly behind in XP.
But with Lee Sin pathing down towards the bot lane, with iBoy and Huang actually having, I think, invested their wards in the early game as well, he could find some sort of little engage in there. No, actually, I'm going to take that back. iBoy does have his trinket ready, so what I'm expecting here for the Rare Atom bot lane is that just going to shove out this next wave. iBoy is going to drop that ward, and they're going to be careful of any Lee Sin gank. Because remember, you said it yourself, the ward was placed down in the early game from Rare Atom. They spotted Lee Sin, he started top side, and now they know that Lee Sin can only be bot side.
Yep, right on cue. They shoved out the wave, they immediately rotated, used the trinket, get the advantage that they need to. They will be able to spot out that Scuttle Crab, so Leian going to be completely confident taking up the top lane. The only problem that I see right now for Rare Atom is that when you look at this mid lane, that Fofo is struggling pretty greatly into Uniboy. And I want to see if V5 are going to be able to take advantage of having that mid lane priority.
And that's going to be the thing. You always want to utilize any skirmish given that you can. And now I like this from Lian. He knew that Lee Sin doesn't clear Crocs. He knew that Lee Sin needs to skip camps to be able to just stay in touch with the game. So he's already up here. And this is what we talked about, the jungle matchup. Oh, Invincible is very low as well. But you can already see PZX. He knows something is happening up here. He's already making his way up. We could have a small skirmish here now.
Spots it out. Is able to get the Sonic Wave onto Lian. Just going to clear out the remaining Krugs instead of actually wanting to go for anything. Just more hanging around saying, I dare you to dive. The 2v2 won't go your way, even if you have the shield from Cube to be able to kind of juggle that aggro. Gets a nice trade of damage onto Lian, but it isn't necessarily what you want to have happen here. It's probably going to be the TP expended by Invincible just to make sure to be able to eat up this wave.
You're completely right. So TP expended from Invincible, but while we are on the subject of teleports, you talked a bit about Uniboy's priority, and with this, he got himself a cheetah recall. He backed without having to spend the TP, but on the side of Fofo, he's a TP down. So Uniboy, he can take these bad trades if he want to. He can create an awkward lane state for Fofo by the expense of his HP, because he can always TP back if he wants to. Or he can just, you know, kind of save it for any given skirmish among the top side, among the bot side, or in the jungle. So right now, there's tools for the side of V5 to work with this kind of priority. And
Uniboy is going to be able to clear out the minion wave really easily into Fofo. Not really going to be too threatened. Yeah. That is a nice ward. We actually saw just on the wings when Fofo had gone for that trade against Uniboy, that Hong had rotated up to place down that control ward. ZYF wanted to do something similar, but unfortunately, they just had nobody enter that brush, so it's a nice control ward to be able to do, again, what Rare Atom have been doing in this early game, which is controlling the pace of the jungle.
Yeah, but this early game, in general, okay, need to hold my tongue a bit there, but they will disengage it, has just been way slower than what we're used to from V5 as well. This is actually looking like a normal game of League of Legends.
I mean, as normal as we can get in the LPL, I suppose, because we all know that there's usually tons of action, tons of fighting. And I will say, it's always funny, whenever Rare Atom have locked in this Nidalee for Lian in the summer split, it tends to be their slower game. They like to play the slow-paced game, but normally you think Nidalee, you think early aggression, you think early kills and trying to set a pace. And yes, Lian has been able to do that in this game so far, but in a very different way than you'd expect from Nidalee.
Exactly, but now that they're getting the intel that the rest of V5 right now is doing the Drake, they're moving their members up towards the top side of the map where they can go for a cross map.
Oh no, he's not even level 6. Don't. Oh, there he is, going to be able to get the perfect execution. The flash away, but the follow-up first blood out of Lian.
And that's just really good timing from the side of Rare Atom. They read the game state there perfectly. All right, V5, they're doing Drake. They're having a lot of members down towards the bot side of the map. Let's attack the weak side of the map right now. Invincible, he said it himself, hadn't been sick at that point in time. So when it finally happened, he was too low. And Lian just flashing forward to finish up the kill.
Wow, that damage in from Nidalee on to PZX, only level 5 again, and another spear forcing out the smite early. Wow, do you call up Fofo at this point? You call, Cube had already recalled, so they have to fall back, giving PZX his rightfully earned buff, but man, those spears are already starting to do a lot of work.
And you talked about Lian's Nidalee pick. It's not necessarily always in the proactivity of getting the kills. He's going to get the lead, but this time around, did get the first blood. All right, that's 400 gold. But right now, he's 600 gold up against the likes of PZX right now. And that's just because way faster clearing. He's gone in and counter jungle a bit as well. So right now, naturally, due to the matchup in the jungle, he is just getting a lead. And that is great when you still have scaling components on your team. Silence works way better when he's outside of the laning phase. When he's in a teamfight setting available to steal the soul of Bless, to steal the perfect execution himself. And iBoy, of course, with the Kaiser, he's just sitting like a nice little soup simmering, waiting for the perfect time where you just know that's the perfect meal. I don't know where I wanted to go with that one.
I'm trying to think of something that would be clever for that one. It's like Void stuff. I don't know what the cuisine of the Void is. I think they just eat anything, right?
I think we're just going to forget that. You know what? I'm just going to say Kaiser wants scale, right? That's just what we went for
but
there.
But she doesn't
Kaiser
have scales. See, that you're thinking more like Renekton.
Oh
Renekton
my
has
god,
scales.
stop. No, I meant
Anyways.
like, oh, you're horrible. I
Yes,
hate
I
you
know, I
already.
know. I'm glad. I'm glad I've already done my job. But going back into the game that we have at hand, I actually want to get our attention on Cube versus Invincible. You had highlighted that Akali, normally a great pick into a lot of these melees, has fallen massively behind because of these early positions from Cube, from Leyen, to make sure this Akali is not going to have a chance to scale. And even though we see V5 try to see if they can set up something in the bot lane, they just can't do so because they have no control. It's all owned by the vision of Rare Atom.
Exactly, and they don't win out on this push either. They're trying to cross-map it, they're trying to get some plates for themselves, but right now they don't have the priority in mid to really create that big man advantage you need for that. So first turret of the game is just going to go over to Rare Atom. They even get a second charge, which is placing that tier 2 turret in a nice position as well. So V5, once again, they had a nice 5-minute where they're actually ahead with about 500 gold-ish. But then you get to around this 10-minute mark, and you can see the gold deficit is already starting to build up against Rare Atom. On a clear path to where we kind of know them, this mid to late game team, they're just scaling nicely and slowly up towards that point.
They had. Oh, come on, guys. You gotta enter the brush one time. Sorry. I interrupted you there, Goldberg. Continue. I just got a little upset that the control word's still there.
I understand your frustration. I really do, but you can already see it's not the only one. There's one in the blue side,
Yeah,
but there's also one towards the red side as well. So every time that anyone from V5 is just clearing standard in the jungle, they don't have no idea that they're being spotted out on vision. And this is making the rest of the game so easy for Rare Atom. You can see Leyan, he's actually going to be looking to expose that as well now.
More. Oh, I thought it was the Krugs, but not just saying, hey, I got a tastier treat here with Invincible trying to be able to get away. The shuriken flip will get enough distance. And actually going for the re-engage with perfect execution. Come on, Invincible. You got this. I believe. No, it's the showstopper to pull away Invincible. No Sonic Wave to be able to connect. Leyan going to be able to escape.
That should have been a kill there. Cube saved his ass there for real. That should have just been the perfect execution to come through to finish him off, but...
Finally!
I'm glad for you. I'm very glad for you. The issue is still happening top side of the map, so you're not completely rid of it. And now, with 38 seconds onto the map, with a lot of tools actually used there, remember, no perfect execution for Kali if she were to join the 5. Bot lane priority should be in favor. Actually, it's quite even right now, so I actually think V5, if they wanted to, fighting for this next Drake could still be a good potential for them. TPs are even, no set ultimate either. I think they're looking quite even going into this skirmish.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's actually what they're trying to see if they can set up. They have to be wary. Any spear connects from Leyen, they're pretty damn squishy at this point. They're not going to be able to survive the full unleash of damage that Leyen's going to be able to unleash onto them.
And pay attention to the engage here. We're going to be looking for them solar flares from ZYF. We're going to be looking at the shockwaves. Invincible is up towards the top side, but does have TP if he wants to join the fight. But you can see right now, Rare Atom, they're doing a better job at clearing out the mid lane, which allows them to get control of the river, which allows them to run freely, which means in turn, they're just going to be starting up the Drake. And V5, not really feeling a contest himself. It is just the first Drake for Rare Atom, so they're not losing too much. ZYF, they're actually going for a fight. What's going on?
TP, trying to see if they can just get on the Hong. It's going to be the Zenith Blade. Can they get over the wall? Looking for the dashes, the flashes. It's going to be the survival again from Leyen, getting the Dragon and getting the TP out of Invincible. Despite the fact they had to burn their flashes, doesn't seem like it was too much lost on Rare Atom's side.
No, that's the thing. I actually like the idea from V5. You can see what they were going for. They tried to make Rare Atom comfortable by making it look like V5 had backed off. They're kind of bluffing it. But then when there were only 2 members around the Drake pit, they felt, all right, now we commit. Now we see if we can get some picks. Problem for them is that the members of Rare Atom, they all had flash, and they're also just mobile champions. It's really easy for Rakan to get out. It's really easy for Nidalee to pounce. So it's tough for them to execute on the play they had set themselves out for here. And there we go. Little ping ward there, still helping them out with vision.
Come on, V5. You guys got to just walk through the brushes a couple times. You were able to clear out the last one. You got to figure out this one as well. I believe in you. Is there like some clues or something? Do we got to get Scooby-Doo here? I feel like we got to get Scooby-Doo here. I feel like that's what we're
You know, you know, that was stopped for me in Danish, so I don't have too many references I can use on an actual English broadcast. So, I mean, I'm kind of relying on you here.
Oh, well, I mean, you could always just try anyways. It's, I believe
You know what?
in you.
No, I will not. I don't think I will.
All right, fair. You know, I can't make you do anything. Like right now, Adam aren't really doing anything themselves. They're just controlling the map. Even with only 1 kill, they have a 3,000, nearly 3,500 gold lead over V5, and a lot of that is into this Nidalee's pocket. Oh,
it is
back.
that as well, but it's also... Oh, no.
It's back!
Oh, no. The pink ward strikes back here. Let's see if he clears it. No. I mean, I understand why he wouldn't want to walk there. He's just going to go quickly to his Raptors, but... Yeah, Intel once again giving over to Rare Atom. They have all the information basically about all the whereabouts on the members. They know Orianna was hurt, Akali top, and obviously Lee Sin clearing towards the top side of the jungle here. And the problem for me is that, yes, right now, V5 actually has some tools to play for. Divine Sunderer was just picked up by the S-Roll. They do still have the engage tool of the Leona as well. But even if they were to get that, there's still a lot of flashes available for Rare Atom. They still have the cleanse on iBoy as well. And yes, Leon doesn't have flash, but he still has the pounds to get away from difficult situations. So not only are they down in gold and experience, it's also hard for them to find a catch or a pickup with the tools they have in their composition.
Right now, as they continue to flounder about, trying to see if they can get anything, they're losing out on more objectives. They might be able to get that bot lane turret, a little bit of gold influxed into their pockets, but it's going to be immediately answered once this Rift Herald is popped by Lian.
And that's just the thing. Rift Herald, especially the second one, where always works better with the team that has the momentum. Can always also just use it if you want priority around Drake, but...
Uh-oh.
It's looking like they want to punish topside here. Wow!
Oh, that spear hurt my soul right there. I could feel that. That was so painful.
That, that Night Harvest really showing how much damage that can do in a single spear with Nidalee. It wasn't a max range spear, but it was kind of close to it as well. And they're not going to be using the Rift Herald. I actually like this use. I still think it's too early in the game to actually take down inhibitors, because even if you have super minions, you can't really use them for anything. The pressure you get from supers are usually utilized to get Baron buff, but there's still 5 more minutes until Baron is at the table, and they would just give over 90 gold on every wave on super minions to V5 that they can use to kind of get back into the game. So I like that they're patient with the Rift Herald. I like that they're looking for other plays with it.
Completely agree. I think that's what they need to do. Hold on to it, maybe even use it bot lane just to be able to get more gold for your team. How much do you have now? Nearly 5,000 gold, no, 4,000 gold lead over V5 at this moment. They can easily set up around this dragon. I've talked about how when they usually get Nidalee, when anyone usually plays with Nidalee, it's usually all this aggression, all these high-tempo gameplay moments where Nidalee's trying to be able to get these early kills. But Leyen's been doing that in a very different way. Sure, it has been actually pretty good high-tempo, constantly invading, but it's just about control of PZX.
Exactly, and speaking of control, you can see V5 right now, they're trying to take control over the river, they're trying to bait in their opponents, but there's still 10 seconds onto Drake, and Rare Atom right now, they don't need to walk forward, they can get this extra minion wave, they have the Herald as a 6-man advantage to get prio, so there's nothing V5 can do but answer to the pressure that RA is applying to them.
And look at this, Invincible was looking for a flank angle, the turret will stand. But unfortunately for them, they don't have the priority around the objective, around the dragon, which immediately is the call for RA.
And you can see, you would probably say normally, oh, they still have the Akali to play for here. Akali will still be Akali, but she's basically 2,000 gold down the rest of the members. She's just not in a position where she is that scary champion that we have come to know her for these past 2 weeks.
And unfortunately, even with that Rift Maker completed, just not having the gold influx needed, not going to be able to deal with someone who's going to just get tankier and tankier, such as Cube, or the damage that can come out of Leonis if he lands those spears on top of you, or Fofo, who could easily show up to make sure to lock you down consistently, the perfect execution just to get away. Same with the Solar Flare. And that means that they lose all control of this bottom half of the map.
Yeah, but they will just trade the turret. They will not get the kill. And for once, I actually think V5 can trade even on this one. You can see nobody up towards the top side of the map. So, Uniboy and Oh, I take that back. TP's coming through. They don't want to let them trade even at all.
Yeah, they're trying to make sure they can strangle anything away from V5, so they're not going to be able to close that gap. They've gotten just the one turret in the bot lane from the play well earlier by Kepler, but that's not enough. You need to be able, like you said, to be able to help out Invincible, help out this Akali, get some gold back into this game to do real damage.
And out of nowhere again, Mad Magical, take a look onto the gold of iBoy. He's 0-0-0, but he has the most gold in the game.
Yep. Yeah,
How?
Lots of plates. Lots of dinner plates there.
How does he do this every time? He's onto 2 items as the only member. So should a fight break out, he's going to be so goddamn scary as well. And Rare Atom is in a position where they kind of own the entire jungle of V5, and with this pressure, they can just start up Baron whenever they want. They have a set that can tank that up. They can force V5 to respond to the pressure that they're creating for them. Oh no, ZYF.
Bottom. ZYF, easy pick right there. Goes golden, but we all know what's about to happen. Even if you flash away, they're looking to see if they can follow it up. Actually, they have to peel back. The TP coming in going to be enough to scare them away. They're afraid of Invincible. Perfect Execution does not connect, but with the shuriken flip, the dash back in for Fofo as well, trying to be able to get away and skirt the entire fight. Nice pull back in with the face breaker and the combo for iBoy to get himself a kill. PZX trying to be able to get away. It's only one, but it's Kepler taken down.
Yeah, I will say though, the HP bars on the members of Rare Atom right now are probably too low for them to start up any Baron, so that's a silver lining at least for V5. But once again, Rare Atom just come out ahead in these team fights. They didn't pick up the Leona, but they got the stopwatch. They got the flash down now, and that's tools that you really needed for V5 to get back into this game.
And who did the kill go on to? You were talking about iBoy already having so much gold from all the plates earlier on, and now with the kill too, comes back in to the next fight that's probably about to break with a Zeal item. Well, not the full completed Zeal item, but at least Zeal in the inventory.
And that, it's just crazy. We all used to remember iBoy as one of these crazy AD carries for diving in, not being too patient. This time around, it just doesn't feel like that. He's really making the most out of the matchup that is Ezreal into Kai'Sa, where you just get free scaling. And now they're just starting up the Baron. They're forcing V5 to come into them, and surely they're going to be looking for a turn. Look at Fofo's position.
Trying to see with the Solar Flare if he's going to be able to catch out. If they can get PZX, that's going to be the main target they want to. They want to force V5 to fight them. They want to force them into their territory once more like they did last game.
Oh, and they're just going to go back onto this one. Vision has come through, but they're just starving out the pink wards every time for V5. They're just forcing them to spend that 75 gold only for it to be cleared up. And yes, it's buying them time, but it's only buying you around 20 seconds every time. 1 minute until Soul, or Ocean, not Ocean Soul, but Soul Point would be available for Rare Atom as well. So yes, it's looking doomed for them now, but I have a feeling that it's only going to get worse. So now, when you have these 2 items onto Ezreal, when you have an Akali you can decently play for, it's not the strongest point in time, but I'm afraid to say it, but this looks like the point where V5 will have to strike, or else the game is just going to run out of their hands.
They gotta find something. I know. I'm trying to think what they can do. Where's going to be the play? We gotta think. Put our thinking caps on for V5 on what they can do to try to wrestle the control away from RA.
Yeah, they need to commit to it soon, because you can see this right now. Rare Atom, they own every quadrant of every side of your jungle.
Go for the Baron.
They are just able to starve you away from the... This is not going to happen. They have no Baron pressure. It's Ezreal, Akali, this is not going to work. No.
I'm just trying to think of something here, man. I don't know what they can do. They're strangled for life. They're trying to do anything, any play, any flank from Invincible, but they can't find any angle to be able to find and make sure they can exploit the weaknesses of Rare Atom.
I'll try to create something for you right now. Leia no flash, Fofo no flash, iBoy no flash. Those are the members you're looking for, but once again, you're too slow. You're too slow to the play, and now you're just backing off after just basically right-clicking and just sightseeing and be like, oh, they took Drake, great. Let's just back off now again.
See, imagine had they started Baron there. I'm just saying. It's something. It's better than standing around and watching the game end.
I mean, it could be they're trying to slow down the game state just in general. It could be they're thinking that their only chance is they can get 2 items onto the Orianna, 2 items onto the Akali. And that is a valid strategy. Okay. But the problem is that I think Rare Atom can just abuse that. I think Rare Atom can just start up the Baron after their next reset and force them into a position where V5 is just not going to be comfortable.
And look at this. The recall is coming through for RA. Going to be able to get a lot of these big spikes in for members like iBoy. V5 just are trying. Make sure that they can at least delay the inevitable. Like you said, maybe if they can delay long enough for Invincible, for Uniboy, for Kepler to get these critical items, it might be a way for them to actually win any of these fights. But I'm still scratching at oh man, I can't even think right now. They're just grasping at straws. So there it is. Trying to see what they can get because they are 6,000 gold behind here.
You know, and also I was just looking at Leon's stats. I was like, wow, 100% KP? That's crazy. Whoa. You've been on part of every kill. And then I see, oh yeah, we only have 3 kills in the entire game. We're 24 minutes into the game. And a 6k gold lead for Rare Atom. Kind of more of a LCKS style really coming out from Rare Atom this time around. I feel like most LPL teams right now would just have forced V5 into the position where they had to confide.
Yeah, but RA, they are a team that like to play for the full-on team fights, and like I've said before, when they have Nidalee, strangely enough, it's a very different kind of control than we're used to, using that early clear speed to the advantage of making sure that they can put PZX behind, that they can make sure that they control the tempo of jungle to then translate that into the lanes.
But I just want them to push out, shove the top side in, go for the jungle priority, and then just start up the Baron now. I feel like it's going to be so tough for V5 to actually go up and walk up, and with Zed tanking the Baron, I don't think there should be much stopping them. And there you go, top pushed out, mid lane just pushed out, and finally Rare Atom on towards the Baron. V5, they need to contest this, but I feel like this is probably going to be one of the last plays of our game.
Yeah, look at this. Invincible has no good wards. Finally TP2, trying to be able to get into the middle of everyone, but the Baron's already been taken by Rare Atom. A huge shield from Q to be able to stay alive even with the solar flare coming in. The Shuriken flip looking for the kill, but it's going to be Invincible trying to dodge away from the fight. They get the kill at the end, but it's a dive in from iBoy, taking names, looking for more, getting flashed away and finding more kills for them. Rare Atom finally find the fight. They pull the trigger and they are looking to see if they can get a 2-0 sweep.
Yeah, should be able to it this time around. Only 1 member left. There is 20 seconds onto ZYF, so maybe there actually is a chance, a small world, where V5 is able to extend the game a bit longer. But the question is, what are you extending it for? What are you trying to find back into this game? 1 minute and 40 seconds until Soul. Baron of minions, they're taking down the inhibitor. It's looking very dire for V5.
It looks like RA are just going to take everything at the moment. They get this mid lane inhibitor, as you said. They just have a minute and a half until they can get a Mountain Soul. That shield, even more difficult to actually kill. Cube is going to be untouchable in these fights.
He most definitely is, and you can just see how much damage he was able to dish out on 3 members while taking ages to go down himself. I think it's the Ignite from ZYF that's actually able to take it off, and then it's just a cleanup at this time. They're just so far ahead. There's nothing they can do. All summoner spells were still up for the side of Rare Atom, so it's easy for them to navigate the team fights.
And with that right now, they're using that to make sure they can just move that control, the ward lines that they had topside, now here into the bottom half of the map. Pushing back V5, knowing that they have no way to really answer their team fight, any way to actually play against what Rare Atom have gotten control for themselves.
I can see 1 win con for you right now, and that is that iBoy has no flash, he has no cleanse. And if you're able to get him down, maybe a shot down, but then you still have to deal with the rest of the members. But that is that small chance but I can only see V5 having now.
Right, I was about to say, wasn't that the case last time around too? That they had
He had some of the spells. This time around, they're not up.
I mean, for a while he had no summoners, and they were never able to get close to iBoy to even try to punish them, and that's looking like it's the case here once more, pushed back into their base.
They're just going to take this one by the book. Rare Atom, they know they don't have to risk anything. They know they can just pick up their soul. They know they still have about 1 minute or 30 seconds to play around with the Baron. And then they can just start up trying to dissect. the rest of the inhibitors.
Yeah, they don't even need to bring the team down for the solo. They're just like, all right, 4v5, that's cool. Leyen's going to be able to get us the solo easily by himself. And now that everyone's recalled, been able to spend even more gold for themselves, man, this is
I'm just pissed at Rare Atom.
Why?
I'm pissed. They're playing it too by the book. They have too big of a gold lead to play it like this. Because, yes, they're doing exactly what every proper coach would tell you. Would be like, all right, now you have Soul. You already have the mid lane inhibitor. Now we're going to play 1-3-1. We're going to take care of the side lanes. But please, force that team fight. Just run him down.
Here you go. Is this something you'd like to see Solo Bolo out of Fofo?
Thank you very much. I needed that. It was too stale to my taste for an LPL game this time around. Thank you very much. Now, I want to see more. Keep forcing. Keep utilizing this lead you have gained for yourself. You're too far ahead to play this one for the books.
I mean, now that he got the solo kill out of Fofo, pretty much showing that he is the world-class mid laner in that matchup, it's easy for Rare Atom to just go topside, take an inhibitor with no answer from V5.
Yeah, that's just the thing. I really can't see Stack Wave coming in here, mid lane inhibitor coming in as well with the super minions. This should, for the love of God, Rare Atom, be your final version.
I feel like this is like your ward situation. You're just like, please, Rare Atom, you've had the lead for how damn long? End the game. You have every inhibitor taken already. There's nothing V5 can do here. They finally got Uniboys spawning. You have one of potential final fight coming in from V5 with a huge showstopper, and they get the pickup kill for Kepler. They are chased down to the steps of their base. PZX finished off by iBoy. Kepler, the bot lane, they're trying to hold their own. They're trying to see if they can get the base that's in shambles together, but unfortunately, when everything is crumbling apart, iBoy is going to be able to exploit that, get them to flash away, and get in a 2-0 sweep.
Yeah, that was dreading, and mostly just because Rare Atom was so good at doing what they did there. They was just choking them out. The game felt very slow, but it was due to the manipulation of the waves. It was due to Rare Atom just taking away the jungle camps, and V5 just could never find the leverage back into the game. V5 at the same time, very hesitant about trying to get back into the game. They tried to stall the game out. They tried to scale. But it was just so hard for them to do because, as I said, they had no camps. They had no lanes to fight for. It was just like you kind of just waited till you rolled over and died.
And continuing to harp on the point, Lien, he was in full control of this game. Even if it wasn't in at the kill department, that the vision control that Lien was able to place down, constantly taking away these camps from PZX to make sure there's the experience difference between the two was monumental when it came to that mid game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. V5, we talked about them. They are a team that likes to play with the early game, but a lot of times at the same time, they're putting themselves in a composition where a lot of them only have value in the early game. The Lee Sin, we talked about it, his jungle clear is way slower than the Nidalee, and because of this, if you don't make use of that early game, you're just slowly but surely going to get put behind further and further and further.
And in the end, it was RA's game to lose, and they did not. They were able to hold on to that lead the entire time, even if it was driving you insane with how slow it is compared to most LPL games. They definitely played the paint-by-numbers League of Legends, making sure that they did everything a good coach would want them to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Anyone would tell you, oh, this is fine. They're just playing it by the book. They don't need to risk anything. This game is already run. Let's just get the victory slow and steadily. Problem is, I'm not here in the LPL for that, okay? I like good wave management in the early game, but as soon as we hit something that's called the 20-minute mark, I want to see you just start up the Baron, force them to come to you. You already have a 6k gold lead. Just make use of it.
You saw yesterday's game of OMG RNG, and you just wanted that third game replicated, didn't you?
To be fair, I'm spoiled. I am really spoiled. You know, when we get... you can't expect a banger game like that every day. I came from LNG against the FPX. Then we had RNG versus OMG, and that is yes, great. Look at that gold graph.
That is yeah. I think we could tell where the team fight started. I just have a hunch. Can you figure it out?
I mean, you can clearly tell when Baron was picked up for the first time, and they kind of went through it. Because remember, they didn't end on that Baron. They got the Baron, then they still waited 5 more minutes for the Soul, then they started clearing out the inhibitors, and then they decided they could end the game.
Yep, pretty much just... Oh, wait a minute. Invincible's damage. I just saw that. Oh, that poor Akali.
Yeah.
When you see a Akali with a damage chart like that, it pains you.
Yeah, but at the same time, you talked about it a lot as well. Liam did a really good job at shutting down the Akali. Every time there is anything for him to do, he's up towards that top side of the map. And remember, V5 actually picked up the first dragon in that game as well. But in return, they lost out on a lot of topside pressure because they spent so many resources down towards the bottom. And yes, you got that Drake. But outside of that, you were never able to pick up any significant gold lead or experience lead or any pressure in a lane.
No, it just was unfortunate for V5. They were shut down right out of the gates. And we pretty much can guess who the MVP of that game was. Lian, it was just disgusting, his Nidalee in that game. Absolutely terrifying.
I mean, we talked about it. It was both due to the nature of the matchup, but also how he actually utilized it. The fact that he was able to punish on every point in time. Lian just did a phenomenal job at shutting down this Lee Sin, getting his laners ahead, and still remain a damage threat. As we saw, those spears heat-seeking, and when they finally hit, that was 50% of the enemy's HP back on.
Right, and the fact that I think it was not even like, what was it, with just the Sork boots. The Sork boots and the Night Harvester was able to take Akali down to 50%. It just was so well done, making sure, even here, where it seems like it's an early play for Nidalee, there weren't many.
There we go. There really wasn't a lot. And you can see once again how good of a job Rare Atom did at shutting down the Akali. So when it finally came to shove, teamfight started. We talked about it so many times. It was just so far behind Lian. Really a driving factor in getting his team to this point as well.
Exactly. They always had to disperse. There was so much poke damage coming in from Lian, and it allowed people like iBoy to be able to play so safe. How long had he been 0-0-0 throughout that game? Had 2 items completed before actually picking up the first kill.
Yeah, it's just really unfortunate. And I mean, it honestly still sucks for V5. We talked about them. We need to remember V5. They just this season picked up 3 new members. They played against World Elite. They played against another really strong team I forgot about. But the fact is, their opening schedule was not easy. There we go, LNG. And they still need time to mesh together. They still need time to find out what kind of team they are.
But Rare Atom, they are looking like they've got everything together, and I do hear that we have an interview ready with Hong, so why don't we toss it over to Wendy to take it away.
Hello everyone, welcome to interview, and now I'm standing by with Hong, the support player from Rare Atom, after getting a 2-0 victory against Victory 5. So congratulations on this win. So let's talk a bit more about this best of 3. In game 1, after you guys have knocked down Varus, you have picked the Nautilus, but I think it's more common to see this immobile marksman Varus to be with more protective champions, including Tom Kench or Thresh, while those supportive champions were open. So could we know the reason for just lock down that Nautilus in the 3rd pick? 那其实恭喜你们今天比赛非常干净利落拿下胜利。然后说到今天的第1局，其实你们在锁下维鲁斯之后，你们也是很快选下了泰坦嘛。但我们感觉好像最近维鲁斯这个英雄可能是和更加有保护性的，比如说锤石啊、塔姆这些英雄更适配。但当这些英雄都 open 在外的时候，能问一下为什么会在第3手就直接锁下泰坦的一个原因吗？
因为我感觉对面就选了个镜嘛，然后他搭配泰坦是最好的，然后我直接把他，因为他搭不了锤石，所以说我把他泰坦抢了，然后就行了。
Because at that time, the opponent's team, they have already picked Jhin for their marksman. So we realized that if they pick the Nautilus, the Jhin and Nautilus can be a very comfortable bot duel for the opponent's team. And I think some champions like Thresh is not that suitable to play the bot duel with Jhin. So that's a reason for me to just lock down this Nautilus in the 3rd pick. So, and definitely you guys have a super good performance on game one, and also the opponent's team, because in game one they have a very engaging composition. They have so many engaging skills, and they can play super proactively. But you guys were the one that were able to control the whole game. So could you know more about yourself in game one in the actual game? 那其实说到第一局，对面的一个阵容也是比较的，就有很多的一个开团的手段，而且可以打得很有进攻性。但是你们却是稳稳的掌控住局面的那一方，所以想问一下，你们可能在第一局整体的一个思路是怎么样的呢？
因为我选的是被 counter 的英雄嘛，所以说我下路就不要出事就好。然后我们上单是瑟提加豹女，然后他们上中野压力可能会比较大，所以说反正对于我们下路来说的话，我们就稳住发育，然后等待，就他们也没给机会，所以说就这样。
Because I think for game one, for the body, because I'm for the ban pick after the ban pick phase, I was the one that got counter picked. So I tried to play safely in the laning phase, and also because we have the stat and nasally for the upper half of the map, so we can play so proactively around the upper half. So and as a body, we just try to scale up until the late game, and luckily we were able to have a very good laning phase. And also let's talk a bit more about game two, because we feels like Raw Atom, you guys just suddenly changed the playstyle in game two. You guys, there's not many skirmishes happen from the early to mid game, and there's only a few kills. And so could we know the reason for why you guys just play around the macro to open the whole situation for game two? 那说到第二局的话，其实感觉你们好像突然换了一种打法，然后整个从前中期就几乎没有什么人头的产生，感觉你们一直就是围绕着运营去打。所以想问一下，你们这样的一个转变的思路是什么呢？
因为对面也没给太多的机会嘛，然后我们其实在一点一点的赚，虽然没拿到什么人头，但是我们赚了很多东西。
Because in game two, the opponent they didn't make so many mistakes. But I think play around the macro, we were able to build some leads from every skirmishers, and also we can just naturally snowballing back macro until the end to get the win. And definitely you guys have a gorgeous performance in game two as well. And next week, Raw Atom are going to face against Top eSports and WE. Those two teams have a better form currently. So any expectations to the matchups in the next week? 那接下来在下一周，你们也要遇上两支队伍，就分别是滔博和 WE 嘛。然后这两支队伍感觉现在状态也是越来越好了，所以说想问一下，对下一周的比赛有怎么样的一个期待吗？
就我们最近就赢完这场比赛嘛，然后我们就之后多好好训练，然后就期待和他们交手能够赢下来。
After getting this win, we would like to practice more on ourselves, and definitely we'll try our best to try to win the following matchups and have a better performance in the future. And thank you for the sharing. Congratulations again. 再次恭喜你们，希望下周比赛加油。And back to you guys. Bye bye.
Thank you, Wendy, and thank you, Hong, for the interview. It was great to hear from him on that one. And I actually like what he was saying about how in Game 2, there weren't that many big mistakes coming in from V5. It was much more just a macro showcase of what Rare Atom were able to unleash.
I think he was very humble as well, and didn't really completely wanted to dive into how. It's hard to make makes mistakes as V5 if you're not doing anything. It's kind of my approach to the. It's kind of my approach to that statement. But he was right. It was really easy for them to kind of create these skirmishes, and we've talked about it. We saw what happened. It also kind of creates this good understanding he actually had of it. He knew he was forced to blind pick the Leona. He said, "All right, I'm just chilling in bot lane. There's no need for me to do anything whatsoever because I have trust in Lian to just start this lead for us on the other side of the map. I have trust in Lian to get us this gold lead that we need to kind of snowball the game."
And in fact, they were just able to, cleanly end the game. They just looked so good. Before we toss it to break, we do have more action ahead of us. The next series, I'm just trying to remember what the next one we have in store. Give me 1 second on that one, because I believe it was
EDG Rogue Warriors.
Yeah, there it is. EDG Rogue Warriors. I knew it was Rogue Warriors. I was trying to remember. I almost said RNG. I'm like, no, they play tomorrow against LNG. But EDG Rogue Warriors, I have to imagine it's going to be kind of similar to what we saw here.
Hopefully a bit more proactive, hopefully better skirmishes. I hope they just watch the series that happened and learn from it, and we can only hope that.
You know what? That's a good place to end it. Hopefully Rogue Warriors can learn that, or we might just see why EDG are looking like one of their strongest forms we've seen in a long, long time. Make sure to stick around. We'll be back with more LPL, so don't go anywhere.